So what can we do today? What would you like to accomplish?
Well, I'm still working through the mother wound stuff. And remember, I was saying that I feel like I was supposed to talk to my mom's mom so that I could understand her upbringing a little bit better.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
when you and I did our session, and I don't think we got to that point, but that's kind of still something that's on my mind.
Okay. I'm not sure if it completely fits into one of these categories, but we might be able to work that. Anything else? Maybe in a more broad, like what would be the purpose of working through the mother wound and the grandmother wound? What would
It's to improve my relationship with my mom. That's essentially non-existent right now because we
okay.
don't hardly talk, and then when we do talk, we're fighting.
Okay. Um, okay. So what does it feel like when you're fighting? Like it to me, it sounds like a bit of a power struggle, or like there's maybe this is soul retrieval, like something that she takes out of you or some power that you've lost.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, when I'm with her, I just completely shut down. I lose my voice. I very much feel like my power is being taken away. And I just, it's like the little girl inside of me takes over and she's just scared. And I feel like I can't stand up to my mom. And um, yeah.
Okay. So I'd like to address that, but from this other perspective of
Sure.
soul retrieval. So maybe that would be useful for you. How does
Okay.
that sound?
Sure. I'm game.
Yeah, okay. You're always so good at this. Okay, so I have permission to record and use the recording.
Hmm.
Okay, thank you. Oh, you're pretty good to do a fast
Hmm.
induction, aren't you? You go
Yes.
there pretty quickly. Yeah, let's just do a quick induction and we'll
Okay.
just go right at it. Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
So taking a nice deep breath and relaxing into your chair and just allowing yourself to go into that deep state of meditation that you enjoy, that deep trance, allowing your brain waves to just match that slow oscillation. And as you settle into the chair and you settle into this session, grounding and centering, I invite you to imagine being in your favorite safe space, that place of relaxation, protection, and connection. And as you find yourself in your safe space today, how would you describe that to me?
I'm in the jungle and I'm on this rock that's next to this waterfall. And it's sunny and warm. And there's lots of plants and animals around me. And I'm the only one there by myself. And I just feel very safe and very connected to nature there.
Excellent. And so, as you find yourself there looking around you, you realize that there's a gift that has been left there for you, a gift of empowerment to bring you certain traits and characteristics that will be so valuable for you at this time. And as you locate this gift, what is it?
It's an arrowhead and it's smooth and sharp. And it was made by a Native American at some point in time.
Okay. So, when you take this arrowhead into your hands, what is the energy? What happens inside of you?
I feel like a warrior goddess, and I feel strong and powerful, and like I can do anything when I hold that in my hand.
Okay. And so holding that in your hand and settling into a nice, beautiful meditation there. As I count from 3 to 1, allowing yourself to be teleported to a sacred healing space. 3, 2, 1. And as you find yourself in that healing space, how would you describe this location to me?
I'm just floating in space by myself with millions and millions of stars and planets around me. And I don't even have any equipment on me. I'm just fine, just as I am, out in outer space.
Excellent. And as you find yourself doing that, you begin to meditate with that freedom of space. And as you meditate, you begin to think about how you feel in this space. But when you think about having a conversation with your mother, or maybe a recent conversation, what shifts inside of your energy field? Like, what do you notice shifting as you enter into a conversation with your mother?
I feel like because I'm so far away in space that I'm safer talking to her in this place. I'm protected because usually when I talk to her, I don't feel safe. I have to protect myself and put my defenses up.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this feels like a better place to communicate with her, farther away, more distance.
Okay. So, what is the difference inside of you? Like, what is that empowerment that you're feeling being at a distance?
I just need protection from her. I need to have like a bubble around me or just being far away to where I can communicate, but I'm not being affected by her energy and her trauma and her sadness that's trying to like inflict me and come at me.
Mm-hmm. So, if you saw that whole scene as energy, you could see her energy coming at you and how that creates an impression inside of you. Can you paint that picture for me so I can see it too?
Her energy inside of me.
Well, how it comes at you, what it looks like, what its color is. Is it sharp? How does it infiltrate into your energetic field? Like that whole dynamic, how is that working?
I imagine it's like arrows, hundreds of arrows coming at me that are going to hurt me. And then I feel like when the arrows reach me, they turn into this black sludge, this thick sludge, to where I just feel down and sad about life and like I'm suffocating and it's trapping me. And I just want to run away and I can't.
Okay. And what prevents you from running?
That I have this thick black sludge, like tar, that's all over me, weighing me down. It's keeping me glued down.
Okay. And so if you could, um, as you're looking at this black sludge, for instance, um, if you could speak with it and ask it what it's doing there or get a message from it, what might it say? Like, how does it come to be there and what purpose does it think it serves?
I think it's like demons. I think
Okay.
it's bad things that have taken over my mom and her family for many, many years. And it's like inflicting her. And now it's coming to get me.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's a bad energy.
Okay. Can you talk with it? Does it have consciousness like a demon might?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. And ask it if it's one or many.
Mm, I think it's many.
Okay. And what is its goal in affecting you?
It sees me as vulnerable and pure and a light worker, healer, and it wants to like attack me. It wants to inflict me as well. It wants to go towards the positive energy. That's its source of
Mm-hmm.
light.
And what does it do when it goes towards the light or that positive energy? What does it do with it? Or what's the purpose of that?
If I don't protect myself well enough, it gets inside my mind and like possesses my body, and that's how it gets its source of power. It can't survive on its own. So it's trying to get inside of me and my mind so it can thrive.
Okay. And so when you hang up with your mother or, sometime later, how does that dissipate or does it?
Can you repeat that?
So, for instance, right now we're talking and you're relaxed, you're not talking with your mother. Is that black sludge there, or is it only there when you're talking to your mother and maybe a little time after?
Oh, only when I'm talking to my mother.
Okay. So when you disconnect from your mother, then you're not affected by that anymore.
Correct.
Okay. So ask this sludge if it is attached to your mother.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And how long has it been in the family or with your mother or any other generational person?
It was passed down to her from her mom from birth. It's always been there for her.
Okay. And was this demon or entity with her mother as well, or did it start with your mother?
It was with my mom's mom.
Okay. And ask if it was with your mom's mom. Like how many generations?
I think it started with when my grandma got raped at a young age. I think that's where that energy came from and started.
Okay. All right. And ask the demon, is that true? We'll call it a demon. We don't know.
Yes.
Okay. And let's ask this consciousness, are you a demon or are you a different class of entity?
I'm not really getting like a straight answer.
Okay. I would say it's different, a different kind of energy, it feels like. Okay. So ask it what its goal is. Is its goal to possess you entirely or just to give you a bad time?
It gets to show me what my mom goes through on a daily basis in her entire life. Show how hard it's been for her.
And why does it want you to know that?
Because misery loves company. It doesn't want to be by itself.
So it wants you miserable too? Is that
Yeah.
a conclusion? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So I would like to ask it why it's choosing to get its energy this way. Why stay with somebody who's miserable, for instance?
Because if she woke up, if she had an awakening, it couldn't stay there anymore. It'd have to find a new home.
Right, but why is it choosing to proceed, getting energy by harming someone so deeply? Why not get energy from something productive?
It's just like a leech. It just gets nutrients. It gets its life source from my mom.
Okay. Um, so what would you like to do about this, Krista? What would be a good resolution in this situation?
I need I need to remember to protect myself when I interact with my mom. I wear crystals, imagine a bubble around me. So that way I can interact with her without this thing trying to take over me. And that I can continue trying to show my mom the light, inviting my mom to the light because she needs that.
And how willing do you think your mother is to fight against this strongly enough to come into that light?
And it's been there her whole life, it's infused within her. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
It's going to be really tough. So I don't know. There's a part of me that has hope, a little part of me that has hope. But I feel like I have to try.
Okay. So I would like to ask this being, um, would it be willing to go now that we've identified it? Would it be willing to go on its own and find somewhere else?
It doesn't want to. It's been with my mom for so long.
I realize you don't want to, but there are ways to make it happen that won't be voluntary for you. You could go voluntarily. What will it take for you to leave?
My mom she has to realize her own power. She has to get help. She has to wake up. And if she starts to do that work, then she can start to fight it and make it leave. But until she does the work, it won't. Nothing will budge or move.
Okay. So what will it take for it not to attack you during conversations? To back its energy off of you?
Right now, distance is the best thing.
Okay.
So communicating via like email or communicating in the presence of like another light worker. We need more help, more reinforcement. We've been trying to do this so long for on our own.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So um, there are many ways to have distance, right? Like you said, you could email instead of talk, but you could also emotionally distance yourself from the situation, right?
Yeah.
Even if you talk to her, what would it feel like to, now that you know what this is, um, how could you be more objective or more emotionally detached from her words, from her communication?
Just reminding myself that it's not really her talking. It's not her soul, her essence, her being, but it's this thing that's taken over.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that's doing the talking, and just reminding myself of that.
Mm-hmm. And so if you were in a conversation with her, if you're imagining that now, um, and you're very cognizant of this being an entity and not your mother, how do you think that conversation would go differently?
Is not taking it so personal on my end and not feeling so responsible and like a bad child. You can look at it from a new set of eyes, a new lens.
Mm-hmm. And how would that feel?
It'd feel way better. I've blamed myself my entire life, wondering what I've done wrong, why I was such a bad child when I wasn't. I took it so personal growing up.
Mm-hmm. So, is there any role that this arrowhead could serve in this dynamic here between your mother and yourself?
I think like when I talk with her, to just hold it in my hand and remember my strength and remember to not let her evil words pierce me and that I am protected, I am safe, and that there's no room for this thing to come into my orbit or a world. I have no space for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I'd like for you to look at your energy field, like your emotional body, your astral body. And I want you to focus on the places where you've been wounded by your mother's words, because that has created an impression, like putting, pressing your hand into clay, her energy or this demon's energy, this entity And when you notice that impression or how that's wounded you, what is it that you notice?
It's just made my heart very sad, sad and heavy. That's where the wound is. It's in my heart.
Okay. So, what could you do to soothe it and to heal it and to make it whole again? To bring it back to the heart and essence and emotions that you were created to have at the beginning of time and space? What could you do?
It's to lean on and to remember the family that is in my life right now that can show up for me and support me in the ways that I need. So I have a lot of great family here.
Mm-hmm.
And talking to my own inner child too. And I just keep reminding her that she's an amazing person and she didn't do anything wrong. So
Yeah,
being a mother to her has been helpful.
excellent. And how is the inner child feeling?
She says she wishes that I had been her mother, and then she would have never had to go through any of this.
Mm-hmm. And as hard as it was to go through this, what did it allow you to learn? In what ways did you become stronger?
To understand and know that not everybody has family that's good or beneficial for them. It helps me to be more empathetic to other situations and to understand when they're in similar situations.
Mm-hmm.
So I can help to support other people through things like this so they know they're not alone.
And is that a valuable characteristic to have learned?
Oh, yes. Yeah, especially as a life coach.
Right. So tell your little inner child this, that she, is placed in this situation and it's unfortunate, but it also is providing some opportunities for her to have special growth and learning. And when she learns about that, how does she respond to that?
She just says, okay, and then goes and skips away and plays on the playground.
Ah, okay. Is she happier? It sounds like she's happier.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you look at your heart now and you see this journey and know that there's still a journey ahead with your mother, how is your heart feeling?
Just like wiser and knowing that, I don't know, maybe I'm the best one that's meant to help her at this time to try to guide her to the light in a way that maybe nobody else can. So it gives me more purpose.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you were to think about your next conversation with your mother, if you were to have a telephone conversation or an in-person conversation, um, how do you feel about that now? Or what would you need? What resources would you need?
I told her the next conversation that I have with her, I want to do it in the presence of a therapist or a mediator, so somebody can help us, so I don't have to be alone. I haven't heard back from her yet, but I feel like I need I need someone else to help me through this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And if you were to have a conversation, just the two of you, just imagine her there in front of you now. But I want you to emotionally feel like you're off in space, in your sacred healing space. So emotionally, you're there, but physically, you're in her presence. And what happens then?
She's going to play the victim card.
Mm-hmm.
She's going to act like she didn't know anything that was going on. And it's just going to be really hard to get through to her.
Mm-hmm. And is it necessary to get through to her?
I wish I could, but that's not up to me to decide.
Mm-hmm. So what would happen next? So she plays the victim card. And then what happens? How will you respond?
I think just with an I love you and I want things to get better between us.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of leaving it at like that, trying to plant some seeds.
Mm-hmm.
Just at least to show her that I'm trying.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't given up.
And so how does she respond to that?
She just kind of seems to be aloof, and I just don't think I think she might have to think about this on her own, process it on her own, what I just said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the conversation, how would you feel?
I would feel proud of myself and glad that I did it, glad that I said something and spoke up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's do it again. So I want you to just imagine feeling really good. You're having your normal everyday with your child, with your family, with your business. You feel empowered. Everything's good. And then your mother calls or you have a conversation with her. And I would like for you to bring that energy, your empowered energy, your everyday energy. Well, first of all, if that had a shape and a color to it, what would that everyday empowered energy feel like?
It's blue, light blue, for the color of truth and voice.
Okay. And and is it located somewhere in you or all around you or what?
In my throat.
Okay. All right. So that truth and voice energy, that blue energy that's there in your throat, I want you to hold on to it as you enter into a conversation with your mother. Normally, before we go into that, so normally what would happen to that blue energy in your throat? What happens to that when you normally talk with your mother?
It's like this black fingers and hands that are grabbing my throat, restricting my throat. There's no light blue airiness.
And is that that entity or is that something else?
Yeah, that black sludge thing.
Okay. All right. So we're going to work on empowering you because we can't work on your mother yet. So as you enter into this conversation now, your job is to hang on to that blue energy and push away the black sludge. And so as you envision entering into this conversation with your mother, describe to me what's happening.
I just have to hold that arrowhead and I have to remember. And that helps to keep the light blue color there. And to not let the black hands trying to grab at it.
Okay. So if you proceed through the conversation with your mother, are you able to hang on to that blue energy the whole time?
Yes.
Okay. And so at the end of that conversation, how do you feel?
I feel like I could share my truth and I could speak up without that thing affecting me, getting to me.
Okay. And so let's go to the beginning of the conversation again, just one more time. And you have all your good everyday energy, and you have that blue energy in your throat, blue sparkly stuff there. And you enter into this conversation with your mother. And what happens this time?
Yeah, I like the sparkles. The sparkles kind of like sunshine. It like radiates out of me onto her, kind of helping her to remember and to wake up. So it's almost like my positivity and power is starting to help heal her.
Mm-hmm. And does the black sludge try to choke you off, or are you stronger against that now?
I'm stronger against it.
Okay. And how does that feel at the end of the conversation?
It feels better. It feels more productive. Like I don't have to be so scared.
Yeah. Let's try it one more time before we close, just to really solidify that. So going to the beginning again, and you have all your everyday powerful energy, and you enter into this conversation with your mother, and what happens?
I think this time she actually apologizes, which I've never heard her do, and has some sort of self awareness of her actions. So, like, she's waking up. So, like, I'm kind of actually getting through to her.
Okay. And are you able to hold on to your blue energy all the way through the conversation?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so at the end, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling happy that there's some progress that's been made, and like I could actually have a conversation with her that she was receptive of.
Mhm. Excellent. So, what is your takeaway today? All this work. What are you going to carry with you moving forward?
Remembering the blue, sparkly energy and to bring it out whenever I'm talking with my mom, and knowing that maybe that'll help to get through to her, because being scared and letting the wax sludge try to take over me isn't going to help her at all.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, anything else before we close for today? Or is that feeling pretty good?
No, that feels good.
Okay. So, remembering all that you've experienced in this session and allowing the subconscious mind to continue to bring you insight, wisdom, and understanding in the days and weeks to come. As I count from 1 to 5, returning here to the present moment, refreshed, alert, and aware. 1, 2, 3, coming up. 4, aware of this time and space. And 5, fully alert and aware and returned here to the present moment.
Hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think we got answers about your grandmother, but we just came at it a little slightly different way. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It made me feel good that I can talk with her and that I don't have to match her energy, because that's not what is going to be most useful and helpful to her. It's staying in my blue, sparkly light.
yeah, yeah, holding that strong energy so that she can come there instead of you coming to her, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you very much.
I think it's going to be really helpful for conversations moving forward.
Yeah. So I'll let you go and process all of that, and we will talk soon.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Mary Lee.
Thank you, Krista. All right.